The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Ambassador Zarathax collapsed. His massive scaled body, easily 20 feet from snout to tail, crashed onto the polished obsidian floor with a sound like thunder. The other delegates, beings of crystalline structures, floating gas clouds, and mechanical precision, stepped back in alarm. "Please," the dragon diplomat rasped, his golden eyes dimming. "I can't walk. Or fly." Evan Matthews watched from the human delegation's corner, his prosthetic hand tightening around his cane. The 72-year-old veteran had seen too many fall in his lifetime. Soldiers, civilians, friends. But never a dragon. The Zephrani delegate's translator crackled. "A medical team is being summoned. Please remain calm." "There's no time," Zarathax wheezed. Smoke curled from his nostrils, but the fire within was dying. The neural venom. The Kreshtar assassin. "I have the peace treaty coordinates. If I don't, deliver them. War." Susan Chen, Earth's junior ambassador, gripped Evan's shoulder. At 35, she'd been assigned to shadow the old veteran, learning diplomacy from someone who'd spent half his life in war and the other half preventing it. "Evan, what do we do?" The chamber erupted in panicked chittering, clicking, and electromagnetic pulses. The other species debated protocols, medical procedures, jurisdictional authority. Minutes were bleeding away, while bureaucracy strangled action. Evan had seen this before. Different species, same paralysis, not of body, but of will. "Move," he commanded, his voice cutting through the chaos with the authority of a battlefield commander. He limped toward Zarathax, cane clicking against the floor. The dragon's eyes tracked him weakly. "Human," Zarathax breathed. "Your kind. So fragile. You cannot carry, son." Evan knelt beside the massive head, looking into those ancient reptilian eyes. "I've carried men twice my weight, through rice paddies, across mountains, and through enemy fire. You think a little thing like physics is going to stop me now?" Susan was already at his side, her diplomatic tablet abandoned. "Tell us how to help." The crystalline arbiter's voice chimed like breaking glass. "This is unprecedented. Humans cannot possibly." "Watch us," Susan snapped. Evan assessed the situation with the cold calculation of a combat medic. Zarathax was paralyzed from the neural venom, unable to move his wings or legs. Traditional grav stretchers couldn't safely transport his bulk through the station's corridors, and the medical bay was 15 minutes away, time they didn't have. "The coordinates," Zarathax gasped. "In my memory crystal, embedded in my chest plate. Must reach. Council vault." Before what?" Susan demanded. "Before the fleets." "Engage." 20 minutes. Evan's mind raced. In the war, he'd improvised battlefield solutions with duct tape and prayer. This was no different. "Susan, I need cargo netting, 3 anti-grav pallets, and every able-bodied human on this station. Now." She didn't question. She ran. Evan began loosening his service exoskeleton, the mechanical frame he wore to support his war-damaged spine. "Ambassador, I'm going to need you to trust me. Trust humanity. I do not understand. You will?" Within minutes, Susan returned with 12 humans, engineers, janitors, a chef, 2 teenagers on a school trip. They carried the materials Evan requested. No questions asked. That was the thing about humans. When one of their own called, they answered. "We're going to build a harness," Evan explained rapidly. "Link the anti-grav pallets beneath him. Use the netting to secure his body. And we're going to carry him." Old-fashioned human ingenuity. Old-fashioned human ingenuity. The mechanical Concord observer word. "This is inefficient. Calculated probability of success, 3.7%. "Good," Evan grinned grimly. "We work better with bad odds." They worked with synchronized chaos, weaving cargo netting under Zarathax's unconscious bulk, positioning the anti-grav pallets to support his weight, distributing the load. Evan directed them like a conductor, his military experience translating seamlessly to this impossible rescue. Anti-gravs will handle 60% of his weight, Susan calculated. That leaves roughly 400 pounds distributed among us. Piece of cake, said Marcus, the station chef. I deadlift more than that every morning. They lifted together. Humans and hope, muscle and will, defying the mathematics that said it couldn't be done. Evan led the procession through the station corridors, his cane abandoned, his exoskeleton redistributed to help support the makeshift stretcher. Every step was agony on his war-torn body. But pain was an old friend. He'd learned long ago to invite it to tea and keep walking. Behind them, the council delegates followed in stunned silence. 5 minutes, Susan panted, checking her chronometer. They wouldn't make it. The math was clear, but humans had never been particularly good at math when lives were at stake. Double time, Evan barked. Like we're running from enemy fire, because people, we are. They ran. Limping, gasping, carrying a paralyzed dragon diplomat through corridors never designed for this absurdity. The teenagers sang cadence chants they'd learned from military videos. The engineer recalculated load distribution on the fly. The chef cracked jokes about dragon-sized servings. They reached the council vault with 90 seconds to spare. Susan extracted the memory crystal from Zarathax's chest plate, her hands steady despite exhaustion. She inserted it into the vault terminal. The peace treaty coordinates uploaded. The communication went out. On the view screens, the massing fleets received the coordinates. They disengaged. War was averted. Zarathax's eyes fluttered open as the medical team finally arrived with proper equipment. You carried me. All of you. Evan leaned heavily against the wall, his body screaming. That's what we do, Ambassador. Humans don't leave people behind. Doesn't matter if you're human, dragon, or anything else. You needed help. We were there. The dragon diplomat's voice strengthened. The other species, they debated, calculated, planned. Yeah, Susan smiled, exhausted. We're not really built for planning. We're built for doing. 3 weeks later, the peace treaty was signed. In the ceremony, Zarathax, now recovered, insisted on a new addition to the Galactic Charter, Article 2847. In times of crisis, defer to the humans. They have a poor understanding of probability, but an excellent understanding of what matters. Evan, watching from the audience, leaned toward Susan. Think they'll ever understand us? She shook her head. Probably not. But they don't need to understand. They just need to know that when the impossible needs doing, call a human. Preferably a stubborn old veteran, and a diplomatic team stupid enough to follow him. They smiled. In the infinite darkness of space, humanity had found its role. Not the strongest, not the smartest, but the ones who showed up when it mattered, the ones who carried dragons through starship corridors because someone needed help, the ones who said, "Watch us," and made the impossible look easy. That was humanity. That was enough.